What if I told you a prince, destined to become the greatest king of a mighty ancient kingdom, gave it all up? Would you believe it? Have you ever felt stuck between expectations and your own desires? Siddhartha Gautama, the prince of a powerful kingdom, left behind power, wealth, and even his family to pursue the truth about suffering and happiness. Was it written in destiny, or was it the result of his bold choices? Let's find out. Hi, I'm Brian. For over 3 years, I've been captivated by the mysteries, myths, and deep philosophies of Buddhism. But don't worry, this isn't a boring lecture. Today I'm sharing the fascinating story of Siddhartha Gautama, the prince who became the Buddha and whose teachings have inspired millions for 2,600 years. What's in it for you? A mix of mystery, curiosity, and inspiration to ask yourself, was he a supernatural figure or a human being with extraordinary willpower? In this video series, I'll share 2 episodes with you. In episode 1, we'll explore the mystical legends surrounding his early life, like Queen Maya's white elephant dream and the 7 lotus steps. In episode 2, we'll uncover the historical perspective, revealing real-world artifacts, evidence, and thought-provoking insights. Don't miss the end of this episode. This tale won't just change how you view the Buddha. It might inspire you to rethink your own life and the choices you make every day. Picture this, a calm, moonlit night in the ancient kingdom of Kapilavastu, where wealth and power seemed unshakable. In the royal chambers, Queen Maya, after years of longing for a child, had a dream so extraordinary it defied explanation. In her vision, a radiant white elephant with 6 tusks descended from the heavens, holding a glowing lotus flower in its trunk. It approached her with divine grace, stepping into her body from the right side. The moment she awoke, an unexplainable peace enveloped her, as if she had been touched by the cosmos itself. The kingdom's wisest seers were summoned to decipher this enigmatic dream. With awe in their voices, they proclaimed, "This vision heralds the birth of a child unlike any other, a being destined to transform the world." Months later, beneath the shimmering sala trees of the Lumbini garden, the prophecy was fulfilled. Siddhartha Gautama entered the world, but his arrival was far from ordinary. It is said that as his tiny feet touched the earth, he took 7 steps, and at each step, a lotus flower bloomed in his wake. Then, with a voice that seemed to echo beyond time, he declared, "I am the supreme in the world. This shall be my final life." Unbelievable, isn't it? And yet such tales hold a power that transcends reason, inviting us to wonder, was this destiny? Or did the extraordinary force within Siddhartha ignite a path that would change humanity forever? News of Siddhartha's miraculous birth spread across Kapilavastu. On a distant mountain, a reclusive monk named Siddhartha, renowned as one of the greatest prophets of his time, saw a mysterious star lighting up the night sky. With his deep understanding of astronomy, he knew this was no ordinary event. Driven by urgency, he descended the mountain and sought an audience with King Suddhodana to meet the newborn child. When Siddhartha saw Siddhartha, he smiled, but moments later his smile faded and tears welled up in his eyes. Alarmed, King Suddhodana asked,
"Why are you crying? Is there a dark fate awaiting my son?"
"No, Your Majesty. This child is destined for greatness. If he remains in the palace, he will become a mighty king who rules the world. But if he renounces everything, he will become enlightened, leading humanity to freedom from suffering. I weep not for him, but for myself, knowing I won't live to see his destiny fulfilled."
These words struck fear into the king's heart. Desperate to keep Siddhartha from leaving the palace, King Suddhodana resolved to create a world without suffering. He commanded his servants to craft a perfect palace where no shadow of pain, sickness, or imperfection would ever reach his son's sight. Asita's prophecy loomed over Kapilavastu like a silent storm, its weight felt but unspoken. A golden cage was built, a flawless world designed to shield Siddhartha from all imperfections. But can you truly protect someone from the truth? The stars had whispered of his destiny, but they hadn't revealed everything. What happens when the veil of perfection is lifted? When illusions crumble, does truth bring liberation or an unbearable reckoning? For Siddhartha, the answer lay beyond the palace walls. 4 encounters awaited him, moments that shattered illusions and sparked a transformation, forever altering his destiny. Have you ever wondered what lies beyond the illusions we build for ourselves? What truths might shatter the walls we think are unbreakable? If you've ever felt like the world around you was carefully crafted to shield you from the truth, you're not alone. Siddhartha faced this too. Let me know in the comments, what illusions have you broken in your own life? Now let's continue exploring Siddhartha's journey. Growing up, Siddhartha lived a life of unparalleled luxury in the palace of Kapilavastu. He had everything anyone could desire: power, wealth, a loving wife, and a life free from worries. But this perfect life was no accident. It was a carefully constructed illusion, a secret Siddhartha had yet to uncover. King Suddhodana, haunted by Asita's prophecy, created a golden cage around the prince. He commanded that all signs of imperfection, illness, old age, and death be kept far beyond the towering walls of the palace. Siddhartha was never to see the pain and loss that marked human existence. Yet destiny always finds a way. One day, driven by an unstoppable curiosity, Siddhartha ventured beyond the palace despite his attendants' protests. That journey changed everything. On a dusty path beyond the palace walls, Siddhartha encountered 4 sights that would forever change his understanding of life. The first was an elderly man, his eyes cloudy, his back hunched, and his steps unsteady under the weight of time. Siddhartha turned to his attendant with confusion and asked,
Why does he look like that?
The attendant's response was simple yet profound.
This is old age, my prince. It comes for us all.
As they traveled further, Siddhartha came across a sick man, frail and writhing in pain, struggling to take each breath. The sight left him visibly shaken.
Could this happen to me too?
He asked, his voice trembling. The possibility of illness began to sow seeds of unease in his heart. The third sight was even more haunting. Siddhartha saw a lifeless body being carried away, surrounded by mourners whose cries filled the air. He stood motionless, his voice barely audible as he whispered,
What is death? Will it come for me as well?
The inevitability of mortality pressed upon him with an unbearable weight. Amidst these scenes of suffering, Siddhartha's attention was drawn to a monk. Dressed in simple robes, the monk exuded a calm serenity and a radiant sense of peace, starkly contrasting the anguish Siddhartha had just witnessed. Siddhartha couldn't look away, mesmerized by the monk's tranquil demeanor.
Why does he look so serene?
He wondered aloud.
Has he discovered a way to escape this endless suffering?
These 4 encounters shattered Siddhartha's innocence, awakening in him a burning desire to seek the truth and uncover a path that could transcend the suffering he had witnessed. These sights didn't just challenge Siddhartha's beliefs, they awakened a burning desire for truth. How could humanity escape the unrelenting cycle of birth, aging, illness, and death? Was there a path to true liberation? Siddhartha was determined to find out. This was the beginning of a transformation. Siddhartha knew he couldn't stay in the palace, but leaving meant defying everything he'd ever known. What would you do in his place? The answer didn't come from the palace or from Siddhartha's loved ones. It came from deep within his own heart. The images of the old man, the sick, the dead, and the monk played over and over in his mind like an endless film reel. Siddhartha knew that if he stayed, he would enjoy a life of luxury and comfort, but one without meaning. A question tormented him. Is there a way to escape this suffering? And if there is, why can't I find it? On a quiet night, Siddhartha sat silently, watching Yasodhara and Rahula, the ones he cherished most, without uttering a single word. Then, with a heavy heart but unwavering resolve, he left without a farewell. He cut his hair, exchanged his royal garments for simple robes, and stepped beyond the palace walls into the unknown. For me, as I explored this part, I realized that this moment not only signified the beginning of an extraordinary journey, but also revealed a profound truth. Siddhartha was not a divine being. He was human, yet a human with unparalleled courage and unwavering resolve. The 4 encounters of truth shattered the golden illusion that once shielded Siddhartha, compelling him to make a life-altering decision. This pivotal choice paved the way for the remarkable figure he would become, inspiring countless lives across centuries. I truly believe that each of us will face moments of difficulty, moments where a single decision holds the power to reshape our destiny. These defining choices are the foundations of the turning points that build our future. Have you ever thought that becoming a monk means embarking on a journey beyond all limits? Not with the external world, but within your own mind and body? In ancient India, this was not just about giving up possessions. It was about facing the harsh truths of oneself. Siddhartha Gautama began his journey with meditation. He sought out Alara Kalama and Udaka Ramaputa, the most revered teachers of the time. They taught him to quiet his mind into absolute stillness, detaching completely from all thoughts and emotions. Hours of meditation brought Siddhartha to states where his mind seemed to dissolve into nothingness. Yet when he opened his eyes, the same question lingered. It's all there is. Suffering is still here, staring back at me. Where is the real answer? Finding no liberation, Siddhartha turned to asceticism. With 5 fellow practitioners, he retreated deep into the forest. They abandoned food and water, surviving on drops of water or a single grain of rice a day. His body wasted away until he could feel his spine through his stomach. Each breath felt like a battle with death, but still, the liberation he sought remained elusive. One night, as Siddhartha sat under a tree, too weak to stand, a melody pierced the silence. A musician on a distant boat was teaching his student. If the string is too loose, it won't play. If it's too tight, it will snap. Only when it's perfectly balanced will it create harmony. Those words struck Siddhartha like lightning. He realized, balance, not extremes, is the answer. The path to liberation lies in the middle way, a path that avoids both indulgence and deprivation. As the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, Siddhartha stood up. His body was frail, but his mind was calm, clearer than ever before. The journey wasn't over, it had only just begun. In the quiet forest near the Naranjana River, under the Bodhi tree's ancient shade, Siddhartha Gautama took his final stand. He vowed not to rise until he uncovered the ultimate truth. This was no spur-of-the-moment decision. It was the culmination of his journey, the preparation for a battle not with the world outside, but with his own mind. 49 days passed in silence, but it was the last night that would change everything. Mara, the embodiment of every fear, doubt, and desire, appeared. He did not come alone. Legend tells of an army of shadows, roaring flames, grotesque visions, and ear-splitting screams, all unleashed to break Siddhartha's resolve. Mara taunted him.
Who do you think you are? A man who abandoned everything for what? Suffering cannot be defeated. You're chasing an illusion.
The wind howled like a tempest, yet Siddhartha remained unmoved, as steady as the Bodhi tree itself. Frustrated, Mara tried again.
Turn back. Power, wealth, a life of ease. It's all still waiting for you.
When all else failed, Mara sneered and launched his final attack.
Who will testify that you have the right to seek this truth?
Siddhartha answered by lowering his hand to the earth. In that moment, the ground trembled, and the earth itself seemed to declare, "He is worthy." As the first light of dawn pierced the darkness, Siddhartha opened his eyes. He was no longer the prince who had abandoned a kingdom, nor the seeker wandering through the forest. He was now the Buddha, the awakened one, who had conquered himself to find the truth. This final battle was not just Siddhartha's victory, it was a gift to humanity. From it came the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, a timeless guide to overcoming suffering and finding true peace. After his enlightenment, Siddhartha Gautama was no longer just a seeker, he was the Buddha, the awakened one. But his enlightenment was not a private victory, it was a light meant to guide all of humanity. This journey began at the deer park in Sarnath, where he sought out 5 companions who had once joined him in ascetic practices. When they saw him, the 5 companions dismissed him. To them, he had failed, abandoning the path of self-mortification and the pursuit of truth. But as the Buddha approached, his calm presence and luminous gaze silenced their scorn. They couldn't look away. Then, the Buddha began his first teaching, the turning of the wheel of Dharma. His voice was steady and deep, carrying the conviction of one who had seen the truth. He spoke of the Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path, the keys to understanding suffering and finding liberation. These weren't abstract ideas, they were revelations that peeled back the layers of pain and offered a way out. Legends say the world itself seemed to hold its breath. The ground quivered softly in awe. Birds gathered from distant skies, their songs weaving into the stillness like a hymn. Even the wild animals stopped in their tracks, their gaze fixed on the Buddha as if they, too, felt the sacredness of the moment. Above, celestial beings rejoiced. Petals of heavenly flowers floated gently to the ground, adorning the earth as if to honor the birth of a timeless truth. But the most profound moment was the transformation of the 5 companions. They listened intently, at first with skepticism, then with awe. Slowly, the Buddha's words washed over them, dissolving their doubts and pride. Kondana, the first to understand, wept and said, "I see it now. The truth I've been searching for has always been here." The Buddha did not bask in triumph. Instead, he gently encouraged them.
Walk this path, and you will find liberation.
This teaching wasn't just the beginning of Buddhism, it was a turning point for humanity. For the first time, a path to freedom was presented, not through divine decrees, but through wisdom and experience. From these 5 companions, the seeds of Buddhism were planted, ready to flourish and transform the world. So, Siddhartha Gautama attained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree. But what makes his story truly remarkable is what happened next. He didn't remain in silent contemplation, keeping his wisdom to himself. Nor did his reputation as the Buddha spread like that of some mythical figure overnight. Instead, he made a choice, one that would shape the destiny of humanity forever. With profound compassion and a sense of responsibility, the Buddha decided to share his enlightenment with the world. As I reflect on that moment, I feel a deep sense of gratitude. Because of that choice, humanity was gifted with the teachings of the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, a timeless guide for overcoming suffering and finding peace. Thanks to those first 5 disciples who embraced the Dharma, the wisdom of the Buddha has continued to flourish, reaching countless lives over millennia. This wasn't just about one enlightened being, it was about a legacy that would empower others to walk the path of awakening. And for that, we owe not only the Buddha, but also those 5 companions a debt of gratitude. Without them, the world may have only known the Buddha as a solitary figure of enlightenment, rather than a teacher whose compassion sparked a global transformation. "80 years, a life that began as a prince and ended as a teacher of truth." Siddhartha Gautama, now the Buddha, spent his days traveling far and wide, sowing seeds of wisdom and compassion. But even the enlightened one was not exempt from the law of impermanence. In his final years, the Buddha felt his body growing weaker. He knew the moment to leave this world was near. One day, while journeying with his disciples, the Buddha accepted a bowl of porridge from a blacksmith named Kunda. But this was no ordinary meal. According to legend, the Buddha knew it would be his last. His disciples, stricken with worry, pleaded with him not to eat it. But the Buddha smiled gently, his gaze serene, and said, "All that has a beginning must have an end. There is nothing to fear or regret." After finishing the meal, the Buddha asked to be taken to the sal grove near Kushinagar. Beneath the blooming sal trees, he lay down, his head turned northward, and prepared for his entry into nirvana. What happened next shook the world. As the Buddha closed his eyes, the earth trembled softly, as though bidding him farewell. A fragrant breeze carried the scent of sal blossoms, weaving through the air like nature's tribute. The overcast sky parted, revealing a radiant light that illuminated the forest. From the heavens, celestial flowers floated down, carpeting the ground in a display of reverence. His disciples, despite their preparation, could not contain their sorrow. Some wept openly, but the Buddha had gently reminded them, "Remember, I am not truly leaving. My teachings will remain, a light to guide you through the darkness of suffering." With his final breath, the forest fell into an extraordinary stillness. No sound, no movement, only a profound peace, as if the universe itself paused to honor the one who had shown the way to liberation. Before entering nirvana, the Buddha left us with a timeless reminder. Be a lamp unto yourselves. No one else can guide you but your own self. My teachings are but a finger pointing to the moon. You must see the light for yourselves. These were not merely parting words. They were a powerful call for self-reliance, wisdom, and personal responsibility. A message that, over 2,600 years later, continues to resonate and inspire millions around the world. So, who was Siddhartha Gautama? Was he a prince destined for enlightenment, or an ordinary man who made extraordinary choices? His story is not just a legend or a beautifully told tale passed down through generations. For me, Brian, it's a profound source of inspiration. Like Siddhartha, I've often wondered what truly brings happiness. It's not wealth nor power, but something far deeper. And this is a call to explore not only the philosophies of balance, but also how they resonate across cultures and philosophies. Who was Siddhartha Gautama, really? A man like us, or a figure sanctified by time? But this is only the beginning. In the next episode, I'll take you on a journey to uncover the historical landmarks of his life, from Lumbini to Bodh Gaya, Sarnath, and Kushinagar. These places hold stories that don't just recount his journey, but reveal the truth of Siddhartha Gautama, a man, a legend, or perhaps both. Before we close, let me ask you, is your life guided by destiny or by the choices you make every day? Are you ready to change yourself to carve your own path? If today's story resonated with you, leave a like to let me know. Share your thoughts in the comments. Was Siddhartha guided by fate, or did he create his destiny? And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss the next episode, where we uncover the secrets of history and the truth of Siddhartha's journey. See you in episode 2.